Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to another episode from the Thrift Store Prepper. And today's episode may be a little short and sweet. We're going to be making some homemade firelighters today. So, something that's not always necessarily needed for emergency or survival purposes, and something you can put in use in everyday life. Winter is slowly sleeping into the past, and the warmer days are ahead if you're, in a part of the world where you have the changing of the seasons. We are in April now. May is just around the corner, and we're getting to the spring and summer months. So people might be out, having barbecues, having fire pits in the backyard, bottles of wine, snacks and stuff. So firelighters have multiple purposes. If you have a wood burning stove in your home or a fireplace, these are all little handy things to have. So no further ado, let's dive straight into what we're going to be doing today. And if you remember, we did the IgG bag the other day. We had a couple of items that we had left over that we were going to put into our bug out bag. Now we've got some cotton pads here, or I can't even read that French word to attempt to pronounce it in a French accent for your whimsical amusement. But what we're going to do is we're going to get a little stack of these. And these are pretty cheap. These are $1.50 at the Dollarama, and I'm pretty sure some of you ladies watching will have these things maybe lying around in your bathroom or in your cosmetic bags. So the other thing we have here is some pure petroleum jelly, and this is a generic Vaseline, $1.25. You can't go wrong. Very handy item to have around the house, and also in your bug out bag. And it's one of those multi-purpose items. Not only is it good for dry skin and stuff, you can put it over little scrapes and bumps to make them feel better. You can put it on your lips if you have dry lips in the summer. You can use it as a sexual lubricant if you need to. And again, we kind of mentioned why you could be using this in your IgG bag, but today we're going to be using it to make some firelighters. Now, people have done this with cotton wool balls and stuff in the past. It's nothing new or groundbreaking, and I'm showing you here, but it's a little video that I'm making and give you a little tip how we utilize things that we have around the home, and how you can make use of things that maybe you wouldn't have thought for using them for that purpose. But I'm pretty sure you people are smart, and you've heard of homemade firelighters. So how we're going to do this, what I'm going to do is just use this little Ziploc to lie them on. And how I decided to do this, because I kind of like pads and things, we're going to kind of make a little kind of lasagna effect, I guess. So we're going to get a little bit of the Vaseline, and we're just going to rub it on there. And we're using fingers. If you wanted to, you could use your thumbs, but nothing's going to go to waste. What's left on our hands at the end, we'll just rub into the skin or anywhere we have any dry spots. And you see I put a little bit more on the bottom one and not so much on the top. And why we're doing that is because we're going to kind of stick them on top of each other. If you can see what I'm doing here off screen. So we're going to make a little stack, and very simple stuff, there's nothing really complicated about here, and I think most people can do this, unless you're maybe a pirate with a hook for a hand, or someone who doesn't have hands. I mean, there are people with disabilities, but hopefully the majority of people can do this, and it's a little bit soothing and kind of almost therapeutic in some kind of way. So we just make sure we get enough petroleum jelly on each pad and stack them up. And I actually did make one the other day, and it burned for around 5 minutes actually. I kind of went outside on my step in the night to have a little smoke when I first made one of these, just to see if it would work as a prototype dummy run. And what I did is I just rolled it up into a little ball, and with one spark of the lighter, it took and lit for 5 minutes and actually give off a little bit of heat. Obviously fire does give heat, but maybe something I can do in the winter months is probably put a few of these in a little coffee pot or something and make a little mini heater for going out and smoking. So maybe that's another little project we can do at some point. I actually do have an empty coffee can somewhere lying around, but I do digress. So back to today. There's nothing much going on in this video. I'm just kind of seeing me do the same things over and over. And hopefully, what will happen is the jelly will kind of soak into each and every pad. And what we're going to try and do is just use what's on our fingers on some of them. That's another little way we can do it. And we're nearly done. We've only got a couple left, so you can see you do get a little bit of messy fingers, but it's all right. Nothing you can't clean off, and I'm sure some of us have had worse things on our hands and fingers in the past. So there we are. Not much science, not much brain work involved in any of this, but we've made ourselves a little packet of firelighters. Pretty much nothing. So we've used quite a little bit of the petroleum jelly, but it's $1.25. It's cheaper, and it's actually, if you are looking to barbecue in the coming months, which I'm sure many of you will be, or smoking out or something like that, these are actually cheaper than firelighters at the store. I mean, we bought a couple of different items of fire lighting items at the dollar store for the bug out bag, but really and truly, you get 50 of these for $1.50 and one of these for $1.25, and you can make yourself quite a lot of firelighters. And again, you don't even have to use the whole one. You could kind of cut it in half if you really needed to. So what I'm going to do now is just on the top give it another layer, and on the bottom we'll try and get as much of the petroleum jelly off as we can. Now it looks a little bit messy, as I'm sure you can tell. Now I've got too many grubby fingers to be able to press pause, so what I might have to do at this point is go clean my hands off, or at least one of the hands, and we're going to put them into a bag. Hold on. And as luck would have it, I had a napkin just off camera, just out of reach. Now cleaned ourselves up a little bit. There we go. We've got some slimy hands. And what we've got to put them in is, you probably guessed it, a recycled weed baggie. So hopefully these can all squeeze in there. And the good thing about squeezing them in is, again, it will help that petroleum jelly squeeze into each and every one. So there you can see that's become our little fire lighter. And again, when we're in there, if we give them a good squeeze, that's going to make sure that the petroleum jelly gets into all of our firelighters. So there you go, short, sweet and simple. We've still got some cotton pads left. We've still got plenty of our petroleum jelly left to use for other purposes or whatever we may or may not need. So there you are. That was a little short and sweet thrift store prepper tutorial on how to make yourself your homemade firelighters. Now, something else I did and we had left over from the first bug out bag video was this little box that I had. And I think it was my favorite commenter, Gibson Girl, said that you should utilize it. So already I kind of got a couple of boxes of matches in there. So one of the boxes is actually a bit busted up from trying to stuff it into the bug out bag. So we've got 4 boxes of matches there, and maybe, yep, we can squeeze that in. So we've got a little basic fire starting kit going on there, and as you can see, we do have some space, so there's probably a good chance that something else will be going in this at some point. So that's something we've got. There probably isn't room for this in my bug out bag. As you've seen, it's pretty stacked, but we might be working on something else and maybe trying to extend it a little bit in utilize the last bag that I did have left over. If you remember, I had a nice little brown fanny pack that I tried to use as a bug out bag at the first attempt but failed, so I have that left over. Maybe I can do something with that, and maybe leave a comment in the section below. I'm going to figure that out after I stop the video. So but yeah, as I was saying, if you have any ideas what I could utilize the bag, you know what, let's get it up here. So this is the bag I have at the moment, so what I'm going to do is, just for the time being, there, we took that up, is toss our fire starting kit in there, which is almost perfectly built for it. Look, you can ask for a better pocket to keep your fire starting kit. So maybe we can build a little get me home bag or something, I know. But as I said, leave a comment in the section below if you have any ideas, and also let me know what you thought of this little short sweet tutorial. As I said, I'm trying to come up with little different ideas for the channel, seeing as we've got a little bit of an audience now and we are starting to grow. Another little thing I've been doing recently, I've watched a couple of tips on YouTube on how to grow your YouTube channel. Now, a lot of the advice I'm getting is pretty similar to each other, and I think that's due to, as a result, that many of these YouTubers watch these self-help videos and then copy the self-help videos on the advice given in the self-help videos. And one of those tips that they give you is something known as the sequel video. So basically, I explain that a little to you if you're interested or not, and if you're not, tough luck, you can just fast forward this part. But the sequel video system is something where, as a YouTuber looking to make a video, you look at the most popular video that is about the content that you are trying to make, and then you title your video exactly the same, but you make it a couple of minutes longer, or you try to put a snazzier intro and stuff like that into there, and basically piggyback likes is what it does. So when people do search for these things, then you should come up. But this is the reason I feel that I see so many information and tutorials on how to grow your channel. They're very, very, very similar, because a lot of these people are just kind of piggybacking off of each other to get likes and views and such forth and such forth. But one bit of information and tip I got from someone, it was a girl that some think of an Instagram guru, but she said how she kind of built her channel and how it got was to make videos as regularly as possible. If you can, make one every day, because the likelihood then of you getting seen is sevenfold over just putting videos out one day. And up until now, we've only really recorded one day, or I've only really recorded videos one day a week, mostly because of my work schedule and days off and having to get things. I do live a little bit of a hectic, busy work life, so it's not always possible to make daily videos or stuff, but I'm trying to utilize a little bit of time in my day before I go to work, and maybe come up with a few more of these little short and sweet videos for you to watch and enjoy. Although I have been rambling on for quite a little while, so this hasn't been as short and sweet as it should have been, and I should have maybe done a demonstration on how the firelighters work. But I do have some workmen next door banging around and tossing stuff as they're doing something to some renovations to the house next door. So it's a little bit noisy outside, and I certainly don't want a bunch of Hungarian construction workers watching me as I record my video for y'all. So I'm going to try round it up, and let you people go about your business, and I'll see you in the next video. This has been a shit video production for the Thrift Store Prepper. See you next time. Take it easy and keep it thrifty.